India is all set to host the G20 Summit. With me is the German ambassador to talk about the summit, also the Chancellor's visit. So welcome to WION. And my first question to you is, India is hosting the G20 Summit. What are your expectations from the Indian presidency of this mega grouping?
So first of all, thanks Siddhant for having me. And I would say that this summit is now the peak or the high point of a year-long presidency, which is a presidency nobody has seen so far in its global spread in a way. We have a G20 presidency put to a next level, I think, by the Indian chair. And therefore, the expectations, of course, for the summit are high. Clearly, you have delivered so much that we are looking forward to the summit. And in a very, very difficult geopolitical environment, we have to call it like it is. There is no doubt that the times are difficult. We are very confident that the Indian side will bring together the leaders of the world and also bring together the leaders of the world around one statement, one declaration. Now, I think the negotiations are undergoing. I mean, we have seen the negotiators sitting around the tables for the last couple of days, and I think we are in the midst of the discussions, as it always is before these summits, and we'll see the outcome very soon. It is a difficult task, there is no doubt, but I trust that the Indian diplomatic skills with this very able Sherpa of yours will lead to a success.
Are you hopeful there will be a joint statement, because there are sharp positions when it comes to G7 and Russia and China on the other side?
So I think I'm very hopeful, frankly. I mean, there is always a risk that things will not go the way the presidency wants it. But I think if a country can bring success to this, India is the country. So we have seen the Indian role last year in Bali, where the declaration was a success. And I'm very confident that India will play this role as a pen holder, as the president this year. It's difficult, because when you are president, you are supposed to be neutral. You are the one who brings everybody together. But with the weight India has as a country, as a partner in the G20, as a member of the G20, I think chances are high that things will end up in a satisfactory way.
One of the focus is also African Union. India has proposed African Union becoming a permanent invitee. What is Germany's view on this proposal?
I can tell you that we support this proposal wholeheartedly. We feel that African Union is a very, very valuable partner. It should have a seat at the table. We, the Germans, and also the European Union have always been promoting and supporting African Union's efforts to join these multilateral forums. And I think in this way we'll have, hopefully, a result also as the AU, inviting the AU as a new member of the G20.
The China challenge, how do you see the Chinese President Xi Jinping skipping the summit here in Delhi? Do you think that is a negative signal being sent by Beijing to this summit, given there are ongoing tensions as well?
So, frankly, I think it is unfortunate that the Chinese president will not attend, but you should see it in a larger context. This is a G20 plus summit. You have 19 plus other countries who will be represented at a very high level. And the Chinese Prime Minister will come, so he's also a very high level representative of his country. So I would say don't read too much into it. It will be a very important summit. China will make its voice heard at the table, so I would not see it as a failure or something. It's unfortunate, but this summit, it will not be an impediment to the success of the summit.
What does Germany bring on the table during this year's summit?
So what we want is basically support the Indian presidency. That's, I think, our main aim is to make this presidency, this Indian G20 presidency, a success. What are our priorities? Climate is certainly one, and that has turned out to be also difficult in the last ministerial meeting, so we will be very, very strongly advocating for a climate, for a good climate text. I think then partnerships also with what you call the global south, with partners in the southern hemisphere is very important for us. That means includes also energy partnerships, natural resources partnerships, discussing, help, support the West can extend to these countries is very important. And third, and not least, the problem of Ukraine should be tackled in the right way. We have a war of aggression that has a huge impact on the world economy, and that must be addressed in the right way.
But do you think that it won't be the main focus during the summit, because first the host is neutral, there are many global south countries, and essentially President Zelensky is not present as well?
Yeah, I think you cannot say that the whole G20 summit should be rallying around this one question. I think it has been on the table for a long time when it comes to the negotiations of the statement, but I think it should have, this item should have the place or the role it should play in this, and it's an important role. You know, I'm not a fan of those who say, let's keep politics out of the G20, because politics and economics are interwoven, and you see with this war of aggression against Ukraine what impact it has on many countries outside. But having said that, I think India has been so helpful during the Bali declaration that I'm very full of trust and confident that India also, as a president, will find a formula that will satisfy at least most of the G20.
Coming to the bilateral aspect, which I'll focus now, how do you see the visit of the German Chancellor? I'm asking this question because there has been high-level engagement already. The Indian Prime Minister was in Germany last year twice, and now again the German Chancellor is here in Delhi.
The second time
yes,
this
sir,
year.
Second time.
We had a very successful and extremely interesting visit in February, a bilateral visit. This year, this visit will be more in the context of the G20, but it shows very clearly that there is a shift in Germany towards India, and a clear commitment towards an Indian-German relationship that reflects, you know, the values we share and the potential that there is in this bilateral relationship, be that economic, be that scientific, be that political. So I think what we've seen, and G20 helped, I have to say, it was a huge series of visitors, high-ranking, high-level visitors, ministers, over the year who took the opportunity that after the G20 meetings to reach out to their Indian counterparts. I can tell you the embassy had a busy time this year.
My last question to you, in addition to this question, is on how India and Germany are working together to fight the issue of climate change.
So we have this partnership for green and sustainable development. I think India is an excellent partner, not only that because without India, climate change is not to be tackled in a satisfactory way, but also because India is full of creative ideas on how to tackle the climate change. So we have not only the government, we have think tanks, academia, we have the very lively private sector that is so engaged and committed to renewable energy. So I think India is an ideal partner. Germany spends 1.3 billion euros a year together with India in developing ways and means to tackle climate change. I couldn't think of a more appropriate partner, and Germany will continue this engagement and looking forward to develop ways and means to tackle this global problem with India and Indians.
Well, thank you so much, sir. On that note, discussing the geopolitics of the G20 and also the bilateral aspect of the relationship. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot.